Hello gamers, it's me, Velosofy. It's my show. Glad to be back to do a new video. This video I just wanted to talk about the things that have been going on in my life, where I've been at as far as mentally and emotionally, just taking everything in as it happens and understanding everything. You know, with this pandemic been going on, we've been pretty much isolated. And we've been, for the most part, we've been adhering to the rules and stuff like that. But there's been things that's been going on. And I just wanted to talk about it. Last year was probably one of the hardest years, and even leading into this year. Last year was my 40th year or birthday and stuff like that. But at my birthday, we went to Vegas. Some friends, my wife and I, we flew out. We had a good time. But over that time, my wife got sick. And she actually got really sick. She's been diabetic for more than 10 years and stuff like that. So we always keep that in mind. That's always in the back of our heads, or it's in the back of my head. It's always in the front of hers, because she always got to take her shots, keep things going, and take care of herself. And she's good for the most part. She's on a sliding scale, so that means her sugar levels go up and down. Anyway, last year, she had to be rushed to the hospital while we were in Vegas. She got really sick. Her sugar level got extremely high. Blood pressure was high. It was all these weird things going on. And she tried to get her sugar level down. She couldn't get it down. And she had other issues going on at the same time. So they were like, well, we'll work on getting her blood pressure down. We'll work on getting her sugar level down. But we started to notice there was some things that was going on throughout last year that even led into this year. And needless to say, we were able to go home, meet our flight, get back home in Texas. But she started having more and more issues with walking. And she started having shortness of breath. And she started having heart rate was rapid and all kinds of stuff. Well, they ended up having to do some extensive testing over last year. She probably went to the hospital at least 10 times. And one night she had to stay, well, she ended up staying one time for 3 days, which was good. Because they said, well, because at that point she had already been probably about 10 times. So they decided, you've been in and out of the hospital and emergency room, so we want to just keep you overnight. And then they ended up keeping her for 3 days. They did some extensive testing and everything. And she went back and followed up with her physician and a few other doctors, because she goes to like 3 doctors. She goes to her regular physician, her endocrinologist, and also the one that deal with her kidneys and stuff like that, a few other doctors. And he was like, you either have autoimmune disease or you have MS, multiple sclerosis, because she was having issues with falling, and she broke her clavicle bone last year too, which was kind of crazy. I think it was 2018 or 2019, and it was a weird moment where she just lost grip with falling, and she fell down the stairs, and it was kind of crazy. Well, ultimately the doctor said they diagnosed her with CIDP, and I'll leave like an acronym or something like that to kind of describe it. But basically what happens is her autoimmune system thinks it's in defense, but in reverse. Normally when we have a flu or a cold, our body kicks in, our autoimmune system kicks in, fights whatever disturbance is. Well, it's in reverse when it's your autoimmune system. With the CIDP, what happens is that it attacks the body. So it started attacking her legs. She started noticing she was losing the ability to walk. So we had to move out of our 2-story home into a flat bedroom, and we're still in limbo because of this whole thing. They wanted to do treatment. They had to do treatment. The treatment didn't go well. It made her sick. They had to rush her to the hospital. So it's been kind of crazy over this year, dealing with that still, and everything's still up in the air, because the doctor wanted her off the treatment to see how her body reacted, and then he was going to have her come back in like 3 to 4 months. She started doing the treatment this year, but it didn't go well. The good thing is, during all this time, she's been working home for a year. So leading up to March, with the whole pandemic, unfortunately, my uncle was killed. He got into an altercation with a guy outside of his store, outside of the grocery store. It was a young dude that said, meet me outside. And My uncle was drunk at the time, is what we're being told. So we're only going by what's being told. Well, unfortunately, he sustained a blow to the head, and they believe he had an object, the assailant or the person that's guilty. They only charged him with assault, but then they had to move it up to a murder charge. So everything is still under investigation, but unfortunately, my uncle sustained a blunt blow to his head. He had blood on his brain, and they immediately put him in ICU, and they were like, "You got to unplug him." So we had to bury him. Like a week before, I think it was either the week before or it was like 2 weeks into April, because they had to do all this investigation, and then he was going to have his body cremated, but because of the whole pandemic thing, they didn't burn his body right away. And well, right after he passed away, a week later, my mom, she had a seizure. Now I just found out she not only had a seizure, but she had a stroke, and I knew she had an aneurysm and a seizure. And it was crazy because I was on the phone with my sister at the time, and we were like, "Oh my God!" And but that ended up turning into something where basically she slipped into a coma for 2 weeks. She got out of the coma after they did the surgery because she ended up having blood on her brain. So she had a stroke, a seizure, and an aneurysm. She had to stay in ICU for 2 weeks till she came out of the coma. Then they put her in neuro for like a month and a half, and now she's in rehab to where they can work with her body. Where all this stuff came from, like I talked about, I've been transparent with you guys. My mom used to be on drugs, but she's been clean for like 20 years, but the body has a way of reacting later on. So all these disturbances that she did years ago has caught up with her. But she's been clean and sober for like almost 20 years at this point, almost 20 years, something like that. But yeah, it all caught up with her, and so now she's in rehab. Her memory is foggy. I'm only talking about all this just so I can get through this and maybe help somebody else out, because you don't know what other people are going through. And then about a few weeks ago, a good friend of the family, she passed of cancer. So I had to go to that funeral. But she already knew that time was coming, and she didn't want us to see her body and stuff like that. So we did a memorial for her, and it was a lot. I'm getting through it, I'll say that much. But the highlight of all this, I would say, the good point or a good part of all this is that I am now a grandfather. May 6, 2020, my grandson was born, and he is the world. He's adorable. He's the precious little gift. So at this point, what is this, June now? He's a month. He's already a month and a few days or something like that. And so we knew he was coming. I didn't make any announcements. I talked to a few friends and stuff like that. But yeah, that's been the highlight. And of course, as new grandparents, we went crazy and shifted all our energy towards that. And meanwhile, all this other stuff with the pandemic and the deaths and my mother, I'm just trying to stay focused. And I was just putting this out there because I hope that it can help people see that you're going to go through things that's beyond your control, but you got to remain focused. You got to go through the process. You have to be angry. You have to cry. You have to be upset. You have to smile. You have to remember the good times. You may go through some really, really, really low times. I've been sleep deprived, sleep apnea, ups and downs with my emotions, my feelings, cried, been upset, been angry, and woe is me, and why is this happening type feelings, roller coaster. So I've always learned to go through it. I say that's the best thing that you can do. Tell me if you've had any experiences in your lifetime. Be open, be honest as always, like I have on this channel. Other than that, I'm Light Spiller. I'm out.